Yeah, baby. We're about to do this thing tonight. I am live tonight, and we're talking about Freemasonry and Christmas and the paganism that comes along with the Christmas holiday. So you might as well get your popcorn, get your tea, get whatever you're going to sip on tonight, because some of y'all might be a little upset after tonight's show. You might not even want to come back and holler at me, but I'm just giving you something that you can really go think about, something you really need to go and look at for yourself, because let me tell you, a lot of us are dealing with Christmas on a plantation mindset. That's the best way I can put it. A lot of us still believe that, we're going to go out and get broke on one day, spend all your money. You're not even investing in your own self as far as like a life insurance policy. You ain't doing nothing for yourself, but you're spending your money because you think you should go out and buy all these expensive gifts and get all these toys, and not realizing the uniqueness behind Christmas. Let's take a look at what Christmas is all about. What's been sold to us, because Christmas has been sold. The game hadn't been told, but the Christmas has been sold. I'm just saying. So tonight, we're going to have this conversation. I have a special guest on the phone, his brother Darnell, from all the way from Houston, Texas. It's Houston, right, Darnell?
That's it.
Yes, he all the way from Houston, Texas. He's about to light it up tonight. He's a member of Hosea Lodge number 7 out of San Diego, but he now resides in Houston, Texas, doing his thing. But tonight, we're going to have that conversation, because what has happened to us is that we haven't quite learned that, in order for us to get ahead in some of these things that we want to enjoy in life, we have to invest. And Christmas is not an investment, it is a takeaway. So tonight we're going to be talking about a whole lot of things, but more importantly, the Christmas atmosphere and what it means for black folks. How did we get here? And what does Christmas have to do with Freemasonry anyway? Where does that come into play? Do Freemasonry or do the Freemasons understand the winter solstice that comes behind what we call Christmas, the death and resurrection of the sun? How does all of that come into play? And why do Freemasons go to church during winter anyway, and talking about, oh, we're celebrating St. John's Day, or we're celebrating St. John the Evangelist and St. John the Baptist? What does these things have to do with the way we're structured? Because Freemasonry, Black Masons have totally, in my opinion, from what I know, have totally missed the beauty of the winter solstice and the summer solstice and what they mean, because we go to church. When you talk about St. John the Baptist, that day in June or July, we going to church. When you're talking about St. John the Evangelist during the winter months, we going to church. And it's not about that at all. It's not about that at all. We have lost touch. We have totally flipped the narrative and got caught up in something that is not even Freemasonry based as far as what we're trying to do in Freemasonry when we are celebrating winter in the spring. It is totally just summer, that is. It is just totally way off. It is, even I had to relearn that. Even I had to relearn that. And it was because I went and I had a visitation with some Hispanic brothers that showed me a whole different way of how you're supposed to actually fellowship and bring in the winter solstice or the summer solstice and what it has to do with Freemasonry. And then Christmas, why do we as Black Masons go to church and do all that stuff, for Christmas and, all of that stuff. And how do Freemasonry come up in it? Hey, it's deep. It's a rabbit hole. I'll tell you that. But boy, it's a joy to go down that rabbit hole, because when you begin to find out some things and to break that thing down, you get a whole nother perspective. You get a whole nother perspective. And what I'm here to do today, along with my special guest today, Brother Darnell, is to really have that open conversation in regards to Freemasonry, the winter solstice and the summer solstice, and just really let's crack that nut open and see what's inside. Because a lot of us, what you mean to tell me? Yeah, I'm telling you, you got it ass backwards. I'm telling you that. For those of you who think, oh, I'm going to church and it's St. John's Day, no, you got it ass backwards. That's the fact. Just the truth. Because most of you don't go and look it up. Most of us don't go and crack it and see, okay, so what does St. John's Day have to do with Freemasonry? Why do Freemasons celebrate St. John's Day? Do you know? My Eastern Star sisters, you're part of this too. No, I'm not going to let you off the hook. Because, see, you say you seen that star in the east. And why in the east? And what's so special about that star that you claim that you seen in the east? We're going to have this conversation because it all deals with astrology. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. It does. Talk to me now, Brother Donnell. Holler at me.
Right on, bro. Well, as soon as we get into the topic of Christmas, the first thing we have to deal with is the system that we are in. And the system that we are in the United States is a system of capitalism. So when you break capitalism down to layman's terms, capitalism is a big game of pimping. You see what I'm saying?
Go ahead.
So when you look at Christmas from the perspective of capitalism, bro, we all tricked off if we partake in this holiday. You see what I'm saying? We all went and we bought a gang of stuff that, you know what I'm saying, is going to eventually go in the trash can to prove to people that we love them. Now, in capitalism, holidays would be considered hostros.
Ooh.
You know what I'm saying? No, seriously, think about it, because and they even give you the symbology. There's only 1 month out of our year that they don't have a holiday, and that's August, which is the hottest month of the year.
Okay.
Think about what I just said, bro.
You said there's only 1 month.
Every month they got us tricking off.
Okay.
Holidays.
Okay.
And when you get into the psychological, now we're leaving the pimping aspect of it. Now we got to get into the psychological aspect of Christmas.
Okay.
For one, when we're dealing with polarities, if you are a church person, then now when you deal with child psychology, think about it, bro. As a 9-year-old, today this 9-year-old is confused as hell because he's in church and they're telling him that Jesus is the reason for the season, but the only personification that he's seen any fruit from is Santa Claus.
Now, hold that thought for
Jesus ain't never gave him anything that he could touch, taste, smell, or feel.
That's right. Hold that thought just for a second. I want to know, can you hear Brother Darnell loud and clear? If you can hear him, please hit the thumbs up button. Please hit a like button. Let me know that you can hear him, because I don't want no one to miss this. I need for you to say, yeah, you got it. I need for someone to let me know in this super chat tonight that you can hear Brother Darnell spit this out real quick. We hear him. Okay, go for it. Brother Darnell, go. Continue on, bro.
So think about it. Now, psychologically, you got these children who are receiving gifts from Santa Claus, and the parents are telling them this about Jesus. And the kid, we are old enough. We don't have Alzheimer's. We don't have dementia. We don't have any of these things. If we're honest men and we're honest women, we can remember back when we were that age.
Right.
I didn't care about Jesus. It was Santa who was breaking us off. You know what I'm saying? So now you have this bipolar thing that's ingrained in these kids that's so crazy to the point to where it's almost considered, well, it actually is considered a social crime to tell a kid Santa Claus ain't real. It'll disrupt schools. I told my kids that Santa Claus wasn't real and they were still in elementary school.
Oh, so you did like I did. I did the same thing. I told my kids, hey, I don't want to buy the gifts.
Right. And I'm sure you got those calls from the teachers and the administrators telling them that them talking about that was disruptive.
Mr. Hawkins, why are you doing that? Why are you telling? Because I'm the one that's doing it.
Exactly. But see, right. But think about this. We were being ridiculed by people in authority because we told our children the truth. And most of those people who called us and was giving us problems for raising our children in truth, they go to church. Think about that. Now this is the psychological component of it. You know what I'm saying? Now if you in the church, you got all this confusion But when we start getting into the historic aspects of it, all of this stuff is all based in capitalism.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? When you start getting into Macy's, all this other stuff, Coca-Cola, all this other stuff, this is where Christmas and the capitalist metropolis falls out.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? This was a big form of marketing because this is capitalism. Think about it, bro. If you own a fortune, think about it, bro. Think about how much money Apple, Microsoft, and all these places, bro, that sell these big items that people are buying to impress their loved ones.
Right.
They made it killing during the pandemic.
Mm.
That's how ingrained stuff is into our consciousness, bro. We still have to go out and shoot that dope up, bro.
Wow.
We still got to go shoot that dope up.
Man.
Because think about this, bro. Think about this. And this is a part of psychology, bro, that us as adults, we don't like to talk about. Now think about this.
Mm-hmm.
When your bank account get low,
right,
you don't move the same. You be feeling some type of way. Bro, this same psychology happens in Christmas.
Right.
It happened to me, bro. Like when my kids were real small, I wasn't able to have Christmas. Like
mm-hmm.
we grew up, we didn't have much. So when I had kids, man, I went overboard, bro. Like if the amount of gifts under that tree didn't look right, bro, I was going back and buying more stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Bro, I was a fiend.
Wow.
I needed that Christmas dough, bro. I had a point to prove.
Mm.
Now, I'm just a grown man that's willing to admit when I was in the middle of my addiction. How many of us are mature enough as adults to admit that we dope fiends, bro, for this holiday? Because don't get it twisted.
You said dope fiending, huh?
I love the fact that I get to see my family members and fellowship and do all that and get to eat that food, all that stuff that reminds me and keep the glue of the family together.
Mm-hmm.
I would never knock that, but money is energy.
Right.
The energy that we are putting out during that time, bro, that's some dope fiend stuff, bro. And the plug are these Fortune 500 companies, bro, that we throwing this money to.
Mm.
We don't need that dope, bro. Our people know we love them.
Wow.
Imagine, bro, instead of spending that $500, bro, on that PS5, we incorporate a business for little cousin and put it on the shelf and build business credit for him.
Or you could take that same $5, buy yourself a life insurance policy, so when something pop off, your family ain't got to be doing a GoFundMe.
For sure. For sure. And so now, when we move over into Freemasonry, this is where we have to go back to the basics. When we go back to the basics, we understand that Masonry is a system of morality veiled in allegory.
Okay.
If that's the case, everything that we use in there is the same thing. You can see what I'm saying? Think about it, bro. When we are functional as squares, we not Catholic, we not Baptist, we not none of that, bro, during that time.
Mm-hmm.
Those are tools. Those are lights. You know what I'm saying? Those things have their place. So to even get into that, we actually have to understand what that light is.
Right.
That light, as far as the Bible is concerned, is the Helios Biblios.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So everything that we do in there's a reason why. And so when we get into the winter solstice, this gets real interesting, bro, because think about this. I'm going to throw some dates out there and see if you catch it. Winter solstice is December 21st, right?
Correct.
Summer solstice is June 21st, right?
Okay.
My question to you is, do you see the 666?
Ooh. Yeah, because they're 6 months apart?
Nope.
Hit me then. Talk to me.
December is the 12th month, right?
Okay.
6 plus 6. June is the 6th month, right?
Yes.
Plus 6. Why? Because this whole solstice is about Jachin and Boaz and walking the middle path.
Whoa, I didn't see that coming. I didn't see that coming. I ain't gonna lie to you. I didn't see that coming.
Because let's go in and do the science. The winter solstice is on December 27th.
Right.
It's when it's celebrated in Freemasonry, or it's the shortest day of the year, bro. The day begins to grow and the nights become shorter and shorter. Now here's where we get into the metaphor. In the metaphor, the winter solstice begins the resurrection of nature. You know, this is where we get into the farmer's almanac, and
yes,
we get into and the Egyptians. They gave homage because they knew the crops was coming.
Yes,
you see what I'm saying? In pagan cultures, they celebrated the Sol Invictus, which is the undefeated sun. It's the festivity in the winter solstice. And here's the kicker: on this day, it begins victory of the light over the shadows.
Okay. Okay, go for it.
This is about the victory of the light over the shadows. Now we have to use the law of correspondence with everything, especially when we're dealing with light or anything like this. So now we're in the as above, so below. We just went above. Now we got to go below. And this is June 20. This is June 21st. So this is the longest day of the year.
Oh God! Yeah.
Nights begin to grow. Days become shorter and shorter. You know what I'm saying? And now we get into the metaphor. And the winter solstice begins the decline of the world, and the victory of the shadow of the light begins. Now, both solstices are considered by pagan cultures, and this is where we get into Jachin and Boaz. This is both cultures are doors between heaven and earth. Winter solstice was the door that the God used to enter the human world, and the summer solstice was the door that souls used to enter heaven. For the Egyptians, you had Hermes, who was the winter solstice doorkeeper.
Right.
And Anubis was the summer solstice one. For Romans, you had Janus. Now, Janus is why we have John the Baptist and John the Evangelist, because again, Biblios, which is the Bible, this is a book of astrotheology. Everything that we're doing from the Bible is all astrotheology. Now, you got John the Baptist and John the Revelator, because when you look at Janus, remember, Janus is two faces looking the opposite way, just like the double-head eagle.
See, you flipped it on me right there. Okay. Yeah. Did I lose you?
No.
I'm waiting for you to continue. I'm learning. I mean.
Because Janus, he was the solstice doorkeeper. You know what I'm saying? And just like, remember what I said in the beginning, bro. Freemasonry is a system of morality veiled in allegory. That Bible, bro, is an allegorical book, as stated in Galatians 4:24. You know what I'm saying? And this is what's going on. So we're looking at, remember, these are doorkeepers. Same with John the Baptist was the baptizer that led to, this is the same thing that was going on in the astrotheology of John the Baptist and John the Evangelist. Okay. And was the doorkeeper. You know, he was always depicted with a bunch of keys in his hands. And what they were talking about biblically was transferring power over to St. Peter. Right. You know what I'm saying? As heaven's doorkeeper. You know what I'm saying? And when Rome became Christian, you know what I'm saying? It was passed on to John.
Now hold that thought. Hold that thought, because I got brother Charles on the phone. Brother Charles, you all right? So far. Now tonight, you know what we were talking about tonight, right?
Almost, yeah.
Almost. So where does because we're talking about right now, we're close to the winter solstice, and we're talking about the summer solstice and how that translates. But in your thought, in your opinion, because I know you're a well-learned guy, and I know your library. So where does that come into play when you're talking about Christmas being a pagan holiday?
Well, first of all, I think personally there's a lot of misunderstanding about the word pagan and civilized. A pagan is simply a farmer, nothing else. And then we added a lot of opinions to the word. Whereas civilized simply has nothing to do with intelligence. Civilized is simply a city dweller. That's the actual meaning of the two words.
Okay.
So now I think when people start putting a lot of personal opinions into things, like Pagan and like the different summers and winter solstice, especially when, let's say, like in this season we're in now, which is what the Christmas type season,
right?
Where a lot of people think it's a lot of fantasy, which it is, but then you got to go back to the original meaning of it and the original characters, which go back to the old Druids of Germany and what we now call Europe. You know, you're actually talking about a real set of people that originally were African people. And then they mutate and were crossbred enough where they became mixed so much until we didn't recognize them as a part of Africa and Africa's people.
Wow.
And as we got more and more into it, and that's where you get, you know, I like to jump, but we got to put some things. We got to go to St. Patrick's.
Okay.
St. Patrick, which was a Roman general. And because the Druids, even though they began to look like what we now call Europeans, they still carried their African nature and the African stories which they practiced, which African spirituality. So Julius Caesar, where the Caesar sent St. Patrick in, which was a general, and he murdered out over 1 million people. Went switch over to Roman ideas and give up African ideas.
Okay, hold that thought. Brother Darnell.
I'm here.
What you think about that?
Hey, bro, I'm a student, man. I'm listening. That's fine. Everything you're saying is legit.
Hey, Brother Travis.
I'm here. Hey, how's it going?
Oh, okay, make sure your background is turned down. Hold on, okay? Hold on just a second. I was trying to merge this call. What you got to say, Brother Travis?
So the question of the night is, where did Christmas come from, and how does that relate to like the paganism of today?
Well, not only that, Brother Travis, but what we're trying to do is just bring it full circle. So you may find us jumping here and there, but we're just trying to bring it full circles to really break it down to give people a better understanding of how did we get from point A to point B to point C. Okay.
Yeah. So in my research, I found that, you know, you can take this from different points of entrance, but I'm gonna take it from where the Bible was constructed, which is basically in the Roman times, where Constantine had a secret council and they put the Bible together, right?
Okay.
Basically in that council, they selected which books were permitted in the Bible, right?
Okay.
So we all got to understand that Constantine himself was a pagan, in our terms of today, right? So what do I mean?
Hold on just a second, Brother Travis. If you can't hear me, I lost Brother Charles. I'm just trying to add him back to the conversation tonight.
Hello?
Okay, hold on, Brother Charles.
He became baptized as a Christian.
Brother Charles, you hear me okay? I don't know how I managed to lose his conversation piece tonight. Call cannot be merged. Oh, shucks. Brother Travis. Looks like I'm having some technical difficulties, Brother Charles.
Okay.
So you go ahead, and Brother Travis, if you can hear me on the other end, call back in just a few more minutes, okay? Thank you. Go ahead, Brother Charles.
Okay. Now, I don't want, since I'm coming in on part of a conversation, kind of bring me up to date about actually where you all are.
Well, I tell you what, where you were at is where we were at.
Okay.
Go for it.
Okay, so when we get to where the Pope decided after he murdered all these African people that what we was called today as mulattoes, then they took Patrick, which was a Roman general in the Roman army, after he murdered out over 1 million people, because the Pope couldn't convince them to switch over to Catholicism.
Okay.
Thus, to this day, we still celebrate something called St. Patrick's Day, where the Pope was so satisfied with him murdering a million people or more,
Mm-hmm.
they canonized him and made him a saint. This murdering, bloodthirsty knight, I had to be civilized. This nice person murdered basically over 1 million African people, and the Pope then raised him to sainthood.
Wow.
So now when we come down, I think like the holidays now, and it go back to in that same period from the Druids.
Uh-huh.
You got one of their deities, which was Cronus. Cronus, which became Saint Tenilius, Saint Tenilius, which became Saint Nicholas, Saint Nicholas, which became a German Jew in Germany, became Santa Claus, which was a real live. Saint Nicholas was a real person.
Okay.
And so when it came to New York City, and the families that we now know as like Masons and all that, they decided they could make money. And the old German families and the German Mason families over here, they all got together and commercialized it. Thus, from Saint Tenilius became Santa Claus, and Santa Claus, from a people who did not practice Western Christianity at all, created into the holiday that we know today. So they can make billions of dollars, which they still do to this day.
So you're saying, so you're saying we just been hook, wink, and bamboozled.
Well, first of all, we got to deal with the reality of the so-called what they now refer to as European white folk. 99.92% of them couldn't read their name on a billboard, so they followed what they were saying and whatever. Like, let's don't not being political, but we see the same ignorance now with somebody was sitting in the White House, and you got poor folks that starving to death. As long as they told something about somebody they felt was rich and wealthy, they went along with it. So basically, New York. And here in America did the same thing, and they took all these poor folks from old Europe, old Germany, old England, and they brought them here, and they gave them all this nonsense, and then they gave them something else to believe in because they were hungry too. And
man,
so as we get into this madness, and we follow it, and then too many of us, we gave up our African value of spirituality, and we began to follow into those who had enslaved us. And we were beaten, whatever they did to us, where we stopped questioning things and we stopped reading and doing our own research. So now we're running around here following other people's ideas and don't know why.
Right. Brother Darnell.
Yes.
You still there, right?
I'm here.
Okay. So with that being said, from a Masonic point of view, because that's what we was headed to. Now, Brother Charles, you laid the work down. Brother Darnell was here first, and he was just pitching those fastballs. Now we're going to talk about how does that, for which we now see in Freemasonry, as far as the St. John's days that we go to church. Some of us go to church for those particular days when you're dealing with Freemasonry. Either you can take that up.
Well, you gotta think about it, man. When you get into Western Freemasonry, think about what it is. All of this, like Brother Charles was saying, everything was based off the template of what these white folks was doing.
Uh-huh.
You know what I'm saying? So think about it. From what we've gathered here, we know that St. John's Day should be some type of solar veneration. You know what I'm saying? This is a day that you honor the middle passage, and that's where the light is.
Now, hold that thought.
You know what I'm saying? This is the type of, and I know anybody listening to this in their mind's eye, if they know anything about those temples over in Egypt, and during the solstice, they all gather around in that area, and the sun actually comes through the light of that particular architectural thing that was built in them temples, and everybody stand there and they get that light. So truth be told, if we were really doing St. John's Day right, that we would have pillars erected, on both sides, as we do, as the light is in the middle, and we would honor the light. And when you go back to what was built on, when they was talking about how Constantine, when they had the Council of Nicaea and all this other stuff, and they were shuffling the deck to issue out Christianity to the Western world, what was really going on was they took what you would call pagan worship, which was basically, it was solar worship. That's why you have got all this Sol Invictus, Sol this, Sol that, because all all of it is the sun. And I think it's interesting because a lot of people, when they hear this, you know, they'll say stuff like, man, you know what? They will immediately the software that's been installed on us is going to immediately go into apologetics mode. So we're going to immediately be like, man, the reason for the season is the sun, Jesus Christ. And that's okay if that's the software that you're running on your hardware, on your system. Hey, that's okay. Nobody is here to argue that. The reality is this. Those people, when all this stuff came about, they were paying homage to the sun. Like, all this stuff that we talking about, bro, is in the Farmer's Almanac, and I'm glad my homie said that. When my man said that a pagan is a farmer, bro, if you don't understand these cycles, man, your crops is in trouble.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? So not only was this a part of life, you know, this really determined, man, how people ate. And we are so far removed from that. You know, this is where we get into stuff like consequential knowledge. You know what I'm saying? Back in these days, having a thorough understanding of astrology, that was the difference between you eating and not eating for a whole year.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? We don't have that. Astrology is not consequential knowledge anymore. Now it's a luxury item. You know what I'm saying? And you know, people don't really see the value in it that our ancestors had. You know what I'm saying? But now we playing games with it. You know what I'm saying? They don't turn Kronos or Saturn into Santa Claus. I mean, think about that, bro. This is the type of trickery, bro, that we have been indoctrinated into.
Brother Charles, you want to add to that?
I have to be careful too. Look, here's my thing, but I'm not disagreeing with anything, but I hold a lot of responsibility for misinformation on we brothers who claim that we're in lodges, because what I constantly run into is that we have not dealt with two facts. And I'll say it's something anybody talk to me know, I'll say Western Masonry and I'll say Western Christianity. Because Christianity was well over 1,000 years old before what Rome or the Vatican ever existed. So I think we have to go back to the real foundation and bring it forward. So I think a lot of us are still getting lost in the process because we have not done enough research on our own. We know, say, most of us say something like 400 years of slavery, mistreatment, and theft. But all my records that I've ever run across through under Dr. Benmore is well over 2,700 years. It's not 400 years.
Right.
Because they didn't just do this evilness to us. We've been at war with these people now, right there, almost 3,000 years.
Wow.
Right. And we now say Western Christianity because when we start talking about Christianity and St. John and stuff, we're talking about mythological characters that never existed.
Right.
Why are we still standing up in lodges trying to act like these were real beings or something? And if we talk with no offense to anybody, but if you're going to talk about the cot or the mummified baby or what we say Christ or Christ, there's 16 of them was crucified. Which one are you talking about?
Man.
But Brother Hawkins, you know what I push? I push libraries.
I know.
Every one of us need our own library and our own lodges. And I still say, we as members of these institutions need to set up where every brother and every sister puts even number $10 a month into a pot, buy and build our own library and get the real information we need, because it is a very, very expensive. Since it was stolen from us, nobody wanted it back in our hands, and definitely not between our ears.
And that's why it's important to buy books.
That's what I'm saying.
It is very important to buy books. And you know, I mean, when I first became a Mason, I had just a few books, but as I matured in Freemasonry, I realized I had to have a lot of books, because Masonry, the first thing you learn as an inner apprentice, to occupy your mind with useful knowledge. And that being the case, I should be starting my library as an inner apprentice Mason as I begin to grow. No doubt about it.
Well, bro, you know me, I got books over 40 years old.
And you got books that cost over $1,000 too. Let's not.
I got books that cost over $5,000.
Okay, all right. Well, I stand corrected.
See what I'm saying, bro? But I'm saying, you know me, I share information with anybody. I don't own my books anymore because too many of them walked and didn't come back.
Correct.
But I still say we should. But I give anybody information where to get the book from.
Right.
We have got to go back to our mother country. We've got to go back to the Torah and come forward. We've got to go back to the mountain of the moon where masonry started. And I say Western masonry, like I said, Western Christianity, because what we have in the Western world, I'm sorry to a lot of people upset about, but it's just not masonry. Or what was originally what we said the Brotherhood of Ra. And we got too much other slave master stuff mixed into it, and we trying to act like it's all right. That means either we haven't done our homework or we're still trying to get along with other people that don't have our best interests at heart. But we as brothers and sisters in this craft, man, we've got to do what we need to do because we've got to train somebody to replace us.
Yes.
See, I'm slightly young now. I tell people I'm a super senior citizen, bro.
Did you not say you was a super senior citizen?
Yeah, I understand that. So I got to try to give every ounce of knowledge I got to somebody whoever's going to be replacing me, bro. And
wow.
Things like it's some kind of little joke, we get a little position, we get another level of different regalia, and then we go out there like it's important. No, our thing is to prepare the next generation to prepare us. And we were taught in Mississippi as children, man, every man in any leadership position, his main goal should be to train his replacement. What happened, brother?
Wow. That's an interesting take coming from talking about this Freemasonry and everything else we're trying to bring in tonight. That's a very interesting take.
Yeah,
what happened?
We can't stay here, bro. We can't here. We got to get out of here.
So what you're saying is with all of the information that we have now at our fingertips, each of us should be dedicated to learning, buying books, and passing on that sacred knowledge, that information that we have to the next person. This is the only way we're going to really be able to catch up, because some of us can get ahead financially, granted, but everybody is not going to be able to take that boat.
No, but here's what, like, when we came along, my granddad was in the institution, my dad and all of them came along, was each person, each lodge, train somebody, send them the best places to study they can. And that person brought all the learning information back. If you got 5 people in 5 different schools and different institutions, they should all have different information. They come back and teach everyone else. What used to be a thing, each one teach one?
Right.
Where it becomes like more just a little saying, and too many of us have forgotten what was actually being said. We have got to look out for each other. We got to care for each other. And I think we got into well, you know how I am, bro Hawkins. We got caught up in some nonsense from the Western world called middle class. When I was in 7th grade in Memphis, Tennessee, a bunch of years ago, there was one middle class. The minimum wage was $2 an hour. In order to be middle class, you had to make a minimum of $50,000 a year and save a minimum of $25,000 a year to be middle class. By the time I graduated 7 years later, it was at least 13 different levels of so-called middle class.
Wow.
So I think we bought into this little thing about where we fit in these different little groups. And we began to look down on the people that weren't as fortunate as we are. And you know me, I tell everybody, bro, I know I've been very fortunate, bro Hawkins.
Right, I know.
I've had people to train me and step in for me, man, and do stuff. And I think we owe that back to our young people coming behind us.
Right.
I do not blame other people for our condition, especially our young people's condition. I blame those of us who financially are stable, those of us who were fortunate enough to get decent education, and then we sidestep and didn't do our job and try to pass it on to train our replacements. We have got to go back to our mother country. We've got to stop talking. I would just say Egypt is a word I don't even use. That's total ignorance to me. We've got to stop talking about Kemet at one level. We've got to take our butt back up the Nile, or down the Nile in reality, and go back up to the mountain of the moon where the 2 rivers form the Blue Nile and the White Nile. No, we got to.
Wait. You said the Blue Nile and the White Nile, right?
Nile, yeah.
Now, hold that thought just for a second. You shook me a little bit, because I do know that in Masonry, Western Masonry, they have what you call the White Shrine. So when you said that, it made me think of the White Shrine, because I had never heard of the White Shrine until I started looking at Westernized Freemasonry and their structure.
Thank you.
Okay, now you can go ahead.
See, and when we go back when we get where the two lakes form become the Nile River itself,
Mm-hmm.
we'll find the highest plateau on planet Earth, which is where the mountain of the moon. And most people are shocked to find that in Africa we have glaciers as big as the one in Antarctica.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And every brother and sister in the lodge should know this.
But see, this is why I got you on, and this is why I have Brother Darnell on, because I've actually sit or however you want to. I've been there with you. We've had these conversations at my home 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. You know that, and I know that.
Right.
So when we're having these conversations, trying to get a better understanding of why we're at where we're at, and we take these holidays, as Brother Darnell was just explaining how they run a 666 gauntlet, and how each one of them are being pimped out. Like he said earlier, there's only 1 month in the year that we don't have a holiday in, and that is August, which is probably the hottest time in the year. And he was breaking down why is that and how that comes to be, and he was just formulating that. So in talking to you and listening to what you're saying, based upon a European style of Freemasonry, for which most of us have accepted as what we would call regular Masons, or just the it all, we have kind of lost that way of understanding what Masonry is supposed to do for a person and enlighten a person on wisdom and knowledge.
And we used to be a benevolent order. I asked the question, what the hell happened to the benevolent order? We're chasing medals and ribbons and regalia, man.
Brother Darnell.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. I want to hear your input on that.
On what?
On the mere fact of chasing. I'm gonna rewind that. I'm gonna go back for a minute. On the African spirituality, as far as Freemasonry is concerned, and how we have switched that, and we now accept what we call a westernized Freemasonry. And this is why we have what we will call St. John's Day and we go to church, or St. John's Day, the evangelist, and we find ourselves in church, when it's not supposed to actually be that way.
It's not at all interesting, bro. This all could be summed up in one word, bro. And when I say it, you're going to probably fall out.
I'm listening.
You know what that one word is?
What's that?
The Masonic word. Regular. Are you hearing me?
I'm hearing you, man. I'm hearing you.
Regular. It is regular for us to observe St. John's Day and go stand in the church, because think about it. Those black slaves that eventually became Masons, this is what they saw, and they duplicated what they saw. They didn't know no better, bro. Think about it. These dudes didn't get into that type of knowledge until after Booker T. Washington and those type of dudes. They had to think about it. They had to go. A lot of the information they got was mouth to ear.
Okay.
Ear hustlers. They were really doing it like that. Bro, my first senior deacon, he couldn't read, but he never opened the book, bro, to do his part. He knew every position in that lodge, bro, word of mouth.
So in other words, what you're saying is true that Mason was passed from word to mouth.
It had to be.
Right.
But here's the deal. Right now, everything that we're doing is regular. You know what I'm saying? And so let's break this down. Let's say we got the knowledge and we understand what St. John's Day is and how it's related to the solstice. Imagine we start actually practicing that and having a Soul Invictus, John the Baptist type of celebration. People gonna think we nuts, bro.
Well, let me tell you this.
They would think we nuts. They would think about it. The same thing that people would do outside, they would do it on the inside, which deals with the law of correspondence, as above, so below. The other Masons would say, hey, them dudes over there in John G. Jones, they're over there doing pagan rituals. Am I lying?
You're right, but I'm gonna share this with you since you're on that. So we used to do the St. John's Day in the church, right? And I say used to because about maybe 5 years ago, I think right before you left, you know how we used to go visit the Hispanic brothers, right?
Right.
When I saw how they did it,
right,
Were you there with us when we went?
I was there, bro.
Oh, okay. Well, you know exactly what I'm saying.
I saw the whole thing, bro. I was floored too.
You know the way they did it.
Bro, and I'm looking. I'm like, at that point, that actually fired me up.
Right.
As far as masonry was concerned, because I'm like, whoa, it's really going down. It's
Yeah.
not a myth. You know what I'm saying? People are really actually doing things the way it's supposed to be done. But let's get real. The Mexicans they don't care about the white boys.
They don't.
They don't care.
They don't.
Do what they do. And that's what's regular to them. Think about it, bro. Their ancestors are farmers. So they understand the sun. They understand the solstices. They've been living with the green dawn, bro, for generations.
So when we was there and that brother came up, he had all of the fruits and stuff on the altar, and then
the way they was using the staffs.
Yeah.
Oh, listen, man.
So then they burned everything to represent I think coming into a new life to death, or death to life, or something like that. And then afterwards, it was completely dark in the lodge. When we gathered around in a circle, and they had this chant. I couldn't tell you, but it lifted your spirit. There was some emotional attached there.
No doubt.
And then,
and the reality is this. I think it's very interesting that we have evolved as humanity to the point to where we will think about it, man. When we really think about what worship is nothing but attention. You know what I'm saying? And we have become so far debased as a people that we are giving up all that energy and attention to a mythical character that we don't even pretty much know who or what that is, when it's the sun that's giving us our vitamin D, that's giving us the photosynthesis, to our energy into food that we eat, to, download information that we need if we really want to get deep with it. I mean, let's be honest. The sun is beaming down information, bro. It is instructing DNA. It is instructing stuff as to what to do. And we're taught that that's nothing. That's nothing.
Wow.
And that's everything.
And that's everything.
When we up and we talking about thank God, but we should go look out the window and be like, hey, Lord, thank you for your only begotten Son.
S-U-N?
Yes. Bro, if it went out right now, bro, we did in a few hours.
That's true. It's a wrap. It's over.
And I don't understand how you can reach a point in your cognition to where something so beautiful you can neglect. Push that over to something that you have no cognition of.
Wow. Brother Charles. What is, when he talk about the sun, the S-U-N, saying that if that light go out, it's a wrap.
Yeah, that means the planet is gone.
It is saying that you said earlier about the 16 crisis.
Well, here's what we know. We know that there was 23. The actual word is Kot. Kot translate into mummified baby. There was 23 different men, well-renowned, that carried the title of the Kot of the Christ. 16 of those men in different cultures was crucified, literally on a tree, not a cross. If you go back into the old Sanskrit and you get into the Latin, you find it never was a cross. It was a tree. And still, I don't remember exactly right now, but even in the so-called Western Christianity Bible, it'll tell you that what Yeshua was actually crucified on a tree. The cross didn't come into existence until the 11th century in old Germany. So here's what I try to tell brothers and stuff, because we have to be careful how we talk to each other, because a lot of us got a lot of personal stuff in us and don't recognize it. I've always said for the last 50 years, take the word God and throw it away. It's a misnomer. The word is deity. We need to get some good dictionaries, look it up and learn the meanings of the words that we're saying. Because when we put the wrong word or the wrong character in place, we're giving misinformation even when we don't mean to. Now, I think all three of us young enough to remember. I know when I came into Masonry, oh boy, that's too long ago to remember. Look here. There was no such thing as a book. You could not memorize anything. If you wrote something down, you probably come up missing, brother. You couldn't write anything down. Everything had to be memorized. I've gone into lodges and watched brothers stand up in their ritual and read it out of a book, man. Something wrong.
Wow.
So that means you do not know your craft. If you don't know your craft, you don't know truth. You're talking about light, don't have a clue what you think you're saying.
That's an interesting concept. That's an interesting, like, in your face.
Right. You have to learn. So we're mimicking a lot of sounds, but we have too many of us in this craft, man, that don't understand what the sound. I have a clue what the words mean.
So that goes back to what Brother Darnell was saying earlier in regards to the brother that was in his lodge that could not read, but when he came to doing his part, he knew what it meant. He knew every position in the lodge, and he could rattle it off. And he understood the significance of the positions.
Good, and that's right. See, because here's what really happened. Remember, we have something called Western Christianity and Western Masonry. It's simply something we call sacred geometry. There's only one set of people on this planet ever built a pyramid, and that was us. The so-called European, I call them Russian because you trace it any way you want to, you're going to end up in the caves of Russian northern Siberia. So to me, they're Russians. They have no spirituality. Therefore, they never could even begin to understand what the sacred geometry was about. Now, when I came along, everybody in my family was building houses of some kind. The reason I take pictures to this day, I got tired of concrete. But you see, Bro Hawkins, I know you know we love Brother Kev and all of, we talked about this. We're now in America, in our institution, 90% of us are simply speculative Masons.
Absolutely.
No longer operative. And when you're not operative, you don't really understand the craft.
Well, that's why I can.
You ain't building nothing.
Hey, I can claim the fame that when you guys came to my house, that room in the back I built.
Good. We have to, because we don't build anything. That means we have lost contact with planet Earth.
Wow. Okay.
What Miles Monroe said before they murdered him, and we still say he was murdered. You know Miles Monroe, right?
Go ahead. Yes.
Yeah, Dr. Preacher. And he said that the deity, what they say, God didn't give you a chair, he gave you a tree. But the chair was in the tree. Oh, you got to go and cut it out and make it.
That's true. That's true.
That's why we need to get together. We got to settle us down enough that we can talk to each other, understand that all of us are at different levels of understanding of something. All of us are masters of something. We've got to come to the table, sit down, and share whatever little bit. Because everybody come to the table, got something to offer, brother. And too many of us got in our little ego saying we got something special. But there's no, every brain come on planet Earth, come on here, as smooth as a crystal ball. It's our responsibility to put some records on it, brother.
Wow. Okay.
See, just like somebody came along and helped us, we got to reach back and get our replacement. And I say our replacement and train them everything we know, bro. We can't be holding back. We can't be hiding. We can't be sidestepping. Because this clansman that enslaved our people, bro, he's still at full work, man, and nothing changed for him.
Damn. So is that why so many of us, we was talking earlier in regards to Freemasonry and how it has come and some things have changed, and it's to in our community where it used to have a lot of glit and glow, where people respected the Eastern Star, respected that person who was a Mason. Now that has somewhat became a gloomy star. It's not as bright. That you tell somebody you're Mason, they look at you like, okay, and what? Whereas a while ago, as early as late as the late 80s, it still meant something. But as things began to change and bring in the age of this thing we call the internet and the computers and all of that, that sort of flipped.
Right. What you're talking about right now, you're talking about the Luciferian science.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? And most people, a lot of people will hear it, they be like, "Oh, I knew they worship Lucifer or whatever." No, Venus is Lucifer, and when you Google Lucifer, I think it's the third definition. The third definition is going to say Venus, and the reason it said that is because when we're outside 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, and we look up, Venus gonna be shining bright. But the reason Venus is out there, Venus is showing you, hey, the sun is right behind me, bro. The sun is coming up in a couple of hours.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Now, what has happened in Freemasonry is the Luciferian aspects of Masonry has dimmed. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Now think about it. When somebody see us as Masons, what do we have for them? What do they see? Do they see brightness? Do they see, and when they do get in contact with that Mason, when they do actually do the Luciferian work and bring them to the lodge, is that Grand Lodge bright, shining with all the isms that they need to become, you know, that entered apprentice, that fellow craft, and that, you know, upright master Mason? If that goes out, then yeah, the whole light of the lodge is going to dim.
So is this why we find today that Masonry itself, we don't understand truly the practice thing, the things that we do? And why do we do those things?
People are looking for the real science. And I'll give you some kind of ism that people are looking for when they listen to people like us. Let's use this solstice situation. The solstice that we're talking about crosses, bro. There's a solar crux involved in this, and that's the cross where the sun is dying on, you know, and all that good stuff. But in Freemasonry, we're dealing with pillars.
Mm-hmm.
And let's go to Jesus' crucifixion. Bro, this is the science. This is the kind of science that people are looking for. When Jesus died, remember, he died between two thieves. Bro, do you know nobody never asked who those two thieves were? Remember, this is a system of morality veiled in allegory and symbols.
Mm-hmm.
So, what is the symbol of the crucifixion? The symbol is Jesus, which represents Christ consciousness, or our crown chakra, or however you want to say it. That is always going to be crucified between two thieves. And those thieves are the regret of the past and the fear of the future.
Ooh.
That is the middle passage with the checkerboard in it, bro.
Ooh, I didn't. Brother, Charles. You hearing all that?
Yeah, but here's, you know me, I always got problems.
Well, bring it.
My problem is we got to deal with the fact that is a mythological story that was mythological and it never happened.
Well, okay, so let's have an understanding. We know that it's a mythological story. We got that.
No doubt. There's absolutely no doubt about that.
We got that. But what we're saying is how you break that down and you look at it from the various points of views or how it's been veiled in allegories, and people don't really see it as a mythological story. They don't. A lot of people can't grasp it.
Because let me be civilized, and you know, if I make a mistake, y'all can stop me. This is where I'm saying the brothers and the sisters in the lodge, especially the brothers, it's our responsibility to put real information. I was at one meeting, and the brother kept saying Egypt, which I refuse to leave because it's ignorant. It's a history. It never existed, period, not on planet Earth. And if everybody sitting up there know it's wrong and know it's not true and there's no truth in it, why do we keep saying it? Are we trying to say that we can take some fantasy or some cartoon and say it enough that all of a sudden we try to make it real? Sometimes we use real historical facts with real historical places, with real historical information. And when we finish talking at Sacred Brothers, we got to go back to the sacred geometry. There's no getting away from it. There's no getting around it. There's no sideways.
Well, but see, hold on, Brother Charles. But see, this is where when you walk up those winding stairs and you knock on that second degree door, and you walk in and you see the liberal arts, you see the sciences, you see the mathematics. This is where the sacred geometry and Freemasonry is supposed to derive and come into play, as you have been already studying as a apprentice to occupy your mind. So when you get to that second degree and you knock on that door and you walk in, you should be able to apply the first to the second to expand up to what's the word, to expand. I'm mispronouncing the word, to grow, to gravitate, to pull out, to make it bigger, to have a better understanding.
I agree. I'm not disagreeing with that.
I'm just saying, I'm just piggybacking on what you're saying from a Masonic standpoint.
Yeah.
Expound is the word I was looking for. Woo.
Right. I understand what you said, but I'm not disagreeing with what's being said. I'm saying I'm disagreeing with how the information is being dispersed.
Got you. Got you.
We can't take mythological characters and places that we know for an absolute fact historically and archaeologically never existed, and keep trying to put it as examples. We got to say down the line, this is a lie, call a lie, and then put it in real life living context. I think this is where the African community, especially us, began to take real African action, began to mix in with Western Christianity and Western Masonry, and now we had too many of them. Maybe a few of us have been fortunate enough to have teachers to teach us, but too many of us haven't. And I've heard so much bad information come out of the lodge that sometimes you just want to sit there and cry, brother. But you can't say it, you'll get.
But see, this is what I like about you and Darnell. I'm gonna be honest, because this is where I can go and get a better understanding and sit at the feet and listen and learn myself. Because each one of us has brought something to the table. Like I said, many a nights we've been at my home, sitting down and having these study conversations in regards to what is and what is not, and how it should be brought forth and taught within Masonic lodges. Like you said, you need to start giving the truth and the facts behind what we have, what we study, and move out the bullshit. Excuse my language.
Right. Bro, I'm gonna be totally honest with you. Brother Charles just let me know that I'm still on the dope. You see what I'm saying? Like, I'm still on the dope. Now, don't get it twisted. I understand, that all of this, it's all myths, it's all that. But truth be told, when I listen to what the elder said, he is putting it out, and this is legit, bro. We are the difference between, like, what I said, the allegory that I gave, is the difference between heroin and Narcan. Bro, it's still dope. It don't belong in our system.
Okay.
It's still dope. And this conversation really let me see that. Like, we gotta let it go.
Well, I would tell you this, and I thank Brother Charles for it. When Brother Charles came to our meeting a few years back, he brought like a ton of books and put them all on the table.
I was there.
You all?
I was there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was there.
Okay. So, and I would share this. When you
books was missed until I saw them.
That's why I would say this here. Because of that, the next time you find yourself in San Diego, Brother Darnell, and you come back to your lodge meeting, it ain't gonna open the same way. We don't open the same way. I can say that because of what Brother Charles shared with us and Grandmaster Sanders implemented. I can say that.
Bro, we owe this type of foundation, bro, to the people that's gonna be doing this when we out of here.
Yeah.
This is a type of boldness, bro. That
see, brother, excuse me, it's not that we're ancient, it's just we learn from each other, we help each other, we all have something. And on the food thinking you got all the information, we all know better than that. We take our little bit,
right,
put it on the table, somebody else. Like my wife, her daddy would always tell us, said, boy, what you don't know is enough to start a whole new world. Right. So we all put our bit in. We all study and we seek the truth and understanding, and we put it down and see, because somebody gonna take our same information and understand it much better than we will and do something better with it. And we've done our job.
Right, and see, that's the beauty of doing stuff like this. You know what I'm saying? Because when men get to the point like we are and shit, this is a Silk Road, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is a Silk Road. Like, this is where everybody is laying it all out. Now, think about it, and this is something that I found interesting. One of the things that I learned is back in the days, when these people travel from all over the place and they would meet in these specific places like the Silk Road, bro, when they met each other, they would ask each other natal chart information. They wanted to know, hey, what is your rising sign? What is your moon sign? You know what I'm saying? Like, that was a very quick, intimate way to get to know who you were dealing with. And you got a lot of cultures that actually use astrology, blood type, and all this other stuff in society.
Yeah.
Still, like, bro, all these, think about it, bro, all these, when we look at all these ancient societies, all these advanced societies, it was heavily involved with astrology. Now we don't, it's satire. Satire to us. But yet, you know, people will be in Western religion and say stuff like raise up the child in the way that child should go, and they don't even have their child's natal chart done. How can you do it? You don't know.
So, in other words, you saying the child's you said the astrology chart?
The natal chart.
Oh, the natal chart. Okay,
natal
gotcha.
chart.
Okay.
This is why, you know, this is and I hate to use that, but symbolically, this is the kind of stuff they were talking about when the three wise men was chasing that star. This is all natal chart science.
Brother Charles, what you know about that?
Not too much. Y'all have to get a better understanding of it.
Okay.
I might have learned it from different books, but not too much.
Okay.
And I've learned enough. And I think Dr. Clark taught us extremely well. If you can't prove it, don't open your mouth.
Oh my God! He said, if you can't prove it, don't open your mouth. All right. Okay, I'll take that. That's
at the end of the day, man. When you think about it, when it comes to like any types of systems, Western, Eastern, whatever, you know, it goes back to what I was saying, bro. Like when somebody is giving you something, nobody don't ever take time, bro, to ask, are they using the same stuff on me? You see what I'm saying? And this is what we've been dealing with as Black people in America. Because think about it, as long as we are quote unquote integrated, think about it, bro. I mean, as long as we are integrated, because you know, we scientists, as a social scientist, white people have proved they don't want to be around us, bro. They cool on us. But yet, we still act as if we have something to prove to them, when in all actuality, when you look at, you know, look at Christmas, bro. They got all, bro, people are hurting, but yet they still manage to go out and buy all these consumer goods. You know what I'm saying? So,
hey, I would say this, because I've listened to certain people, I didn't buy not one gift for Christmas. I took that money. I have a what you call a Fidelity investment account. Flipped it, boom, but there it is.
Right.
Go ahead.
But imagine, bro, and think, let's just do it on a micro level. Imagine in every lodge there was a mechanic, a lawyer, an artist, or whatever, and each one of those guys, they said, hey man, the lawyer said, hey man, I'm gonna teach 4 people, man, how to pass the bar. You know, I'm holding class in here from 8 to 6 every night, you know, Monday through Friday. Bro, you know how powerful that is? You got a mechanic in there, hey man, I'm finna show 3 people how to fix cars. Bro, you know how beautiful that is? You know, now you can hold mechanics, little workshops for the ladies. Hey, bring your car in here. We're going to hook it up to the, we're going to see diagnosis, see, make sure your fluids is good and all that. So now we're doing it, work in the community. You know, because we sharing consequential knowledge, bro. A lot of the stuff that we sharing in the lodge is not consequential knowledge.
Okay. I like that.
We're sharing consequential knowledge, bro.
Knowledge that you can take, apply, and use it like right then.
Literally, bro. Literally. Because once you teach that, nobody can take it from you. Nobody can take it from you, bro. Nobody can stop you from fixing a car. You know what I'm saying?
That's true. So look, we've been on here for about an hour and 9 minutes. I'm gonna let you two go ahead and kind of close out, give your previews, let me know what you think, hit it, and then we're gonna go ahead and close out, because this has really been that topic to where you can understand Christmas, you can understand the economics, you can understand what we need to do, how we need to do it, the whole gamut. I mean, it's like gumbo. To be honest, somebody put that in there. I read that a little while ago. It's like gumbo. And what we're looking at is how we as Freemasons in the Order of the Eastern Star can actually take this and really apply it physically apply it, not just having the knowledge and understanding, but actually applying it so it can be useful in your day-to-day life, to where you are able to actually uplift the next person to be better than you are, as he or she begins to apply that same knowledge, literally apply it and use it. So go ahead and Brother Charles, you got the lad, you got a few words you want to say as we get ready to close out.
Yeah, I do this, and you know I'm get on you. So you got to give me a little more time. You want me to do something, so I take time to put something together. But my thing is, as long as we're true to our craft and true to Mother Africa and her people, and see true and train our own replacement. And we brothers need to get together and talk. That we definitely have to do, because communication is still the greatest thing on this planet, brother. That's it for me. All
right, I like that, Brother Darnell.
Well, first off, thanks for having me up here, man, because, I love this kind of stuff. But, at the end of the day, we got to get off, to break it down, we got to get off the dope, bro. Like, we all on it. I'm on it. We all on it in some kind of way. Like, as Black people, we going through a detox. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And that detox, and we talking about all 7 of the chakras, bro, because we've been indoctrinated in ways that are not us, bro. And this stuff is affecting our psychology. It's affecting our economy. It's affecting all of this, bro. And we got to get out the grips of the psychological pimps.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? We're being pimped on many levels. We're as far as after how we move, our relationship with money, our relationships with jobs and corporations, then we're being pimped spiritually, you know what I'm saying, in the church, because we don't even, we're doing, the people who in the church, bro, they don't mean no harm. They're doing their best. But it takes strength, bro, to come out of that and come into who we really are.
Wait a minute. So,
like I said, bro, it takes guts to do that, and we need to love each other enough and have institutions, bro, to when we make those transitions, it's safe for us.
Right. So I have Brother Travis. Hey, Brother Charles, give me a few minutes. I'm gonna call you. I'm gonna have to call you back, but I want to get Brother Travis on here because I told him that I was gonna call him right back. So let me hook him up real quick.
Okay. You call me back?
Yeah, I'm gonna call you back.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Hold on a minute, there, Brother Darnell, because I told Brother Travis I was gonna call him back. I hope he's still on tonight. Brother Travis, if you're still on, could you go ahead and put something in chat so I can see that you're still up with us tonight? Because I know he's over in Atlanta right now, and there's definitely a time difference. So I'm going to reach back out to him because he has something that he wanted to share, and I don't want to have somebody to come on and not really be able to share what they're bringing forth. He may have called it a night. Yeah, I think he's called it a night because I can't get him. Yeah, I can't get him back over here right now. He must have called it a night. But definitely, I saw him chatting in the room just a little while ago. But definitely, I wanted to bring this topic to the forefront tonight because, as you said, we're all being pimped. We're all on that dope, spending our money on you know what? As a kid growing up, did I enjoy Christmas? I did. I did. Did I give my kids what you would call a good Christmas? My wife did. She spent the money. She did. But as you get older and you realize and you come into what we call knowledge or an enlightenment or something, that light is supposed to come on. And then what you used to do as far as how you did for Christmas, that can all change. We need to start, as you were saying earlier, to invest in ourselves. I wonder how much. I would imagine that the average family is spending. Hold on, Brother Travis. I'm all right. Turn your volume down in the background for me. Now you can go ahead and talk to me.
Oh, you still live, brother?
I'm still live, bro. I'm still live. I was just getting ready to cut off, but I thought about you because you had something to say. So I want to hear what you got to say.
Oh, well, okay, cool. I didn't know what was already said, but I was going to bring up Constantine how he, basically put the Bible together with the secret council in Rome. And we got to understand that Constantine was a pagan. He worshipped many deities, and so did the people of Rome. So anyway, long story short, that's why you have some of those pagan elements within the Bible, right? Constantine didn't become a Christian until on his deathbed, and that's when he became a Christian, right? So it's no wonder that we're celebrating, or most Christians celebrate, a pagan holiday such as Christmas, and don't realize what it is and why it's there in the first place. And that's pretty much all I was going to say.
Okay. No, I just didn't want to cut you off because I had a couple of things going. I had Brother Darnell and Brother Charles on, really breaking down some of this information. And definitely, they didn't mention the part about Constantine and his secret council, bringing forth and putting all of those people of faith and having them to incorporate different beliefs into the Bible, which we looked at as a pagan concept. And in saying that, and in saying exactly that, when you think about that and how that's been passed down as fact and truth, without most of us who go to church don't go back and do the research. We don't go back and look at the why factor. And we repeat the same cycle, as Brother Darnell said, we repeat the same cycle over and over again. It is important, as Brother Charles said, you have to break the cycle. You have to.
Yeah, absolutely. But I as far as like us, and I say us, I sound like black people, right? Melanated people, whatever you want to, how you want to skin that cat. We have to understand that this is a condition that was brought unto us in the form of superstition, in the form of ignorance, right? And we have to learn to basically combat that with our tools that we have, right? And those tools are really, important. And that goes to, a particular degree that I was actually reading last night, but that comes with intelligence. We have to use science and intelligence to kind of break some of these conditionings down to understand where they came from and why they're used in the form of superstition. Right?
Absolutely. So, now superstition and what's the superstition, fatism, and ignorance, that plays a detrimental role on our people, period, bar none. Black women will tell you, don't put my purse on the floor. I'm broke if you do that. If you sweep on my feet, that's bad luck. If you sweep over somebody, some people are coming to your house. We got all sorts of superstitious things that have been passed down until it has us captured. And we're not able to break out of that. This is why I often say, I don't put all black people in the same box. I can't, I can't do it. But this is where we're at today. So we have to break that. We have to break that cycle that we find ourselves in.
And I will, I'll say this as well. Us being in a degree that we're in, we have to help our people learn the truth. And that's a tough pill to swallow once you realize what the truth is. It's a tough pill to swallow because all your life you're taught one thing, but as you do more research into different, different truths and research and look into other lights, if you will, you're starting to realize that a lot of it doesn't make sense what you're taught as a Christian, right? Now, I'm not going to go in that rabbit hole. I'll leave that alone.
No, I understand where you was going, but you're right about having to dispute this. Maybe I'm drinking too much or something, but I understand exactly what you're saying as far as just assimilating the truth and making sure it gets out. Absolutely. So we
just got to understand why religion was put onto man. In man's natural form, paganism was natural. All right.
Yeah.
It was just natural. That in man's natural form paganism is normal. What isn't normal is having institutions kind of lock you into a belief, and that's all you know the rest of your life.
Well, you know what I'm going to do tonight? This book right here is called Allegories and Symbols, and I'm going to mail this book out. I'm giving away this book free tonight. And I think it's a good book to have if you are a Freemason and you really want to get a better understanding of the symbolism in Freemasonry and have a better spiritual mindset. So I'm going to be sending this book out free tonight. The first person who can email me tonight at jgj@yahoo.com. I get your email first tonight. I will definitely send that book to you. I'm going to need your address. So if you emailed me tonight, the first person email me tonight at that address, I am going to send that book to you free of charge. It's all on me. And what we're trying to do is to enlighten people. So we're going to be doing a book or something a month. Here on out, You're going to be getting a book, a pen, or something from us. Eastern Star pendant or something from us. During our show. So definitely, if you want to email me tonight, once again, jgjafam@yahoo.com. If my brother Larry Damon is still on tonight and he's hearing me right now, if he can put that into the chat, I certainly appreciate it. That's going to be JGJ, okay, JGJAFAM@yahoo.com. First person emails me tonight, I'm sending this book right here. This is the book I'm sending tonight, and the email is in the chat right now. First person emails me, get this book. I'll send it to you free of charge. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and log off, and I appreciate everybody participating. We've been on here about 122, so I hope you got something out of it. Brother Cooper, Brother Diamond asks us, is the crime of which has been committed. Res is published, which follows, which means you are on the cross. Okay. That boy is still spitting diamonds tonight. But look, we're going to get ready to go. I appreciate you there, Brother Darnell. If you're still online, I appreciate you. And
I appreciate you having me, bro.
Hey, bro, you got to come back. You got to come back. So we're going to go. Hope everybody's well. God bless you. I hope that you've had a safe holiday. Look, whatever you're doing, wherever you go, wear a mask. COVID is some real shit. It's real. Take care of yourself. Build your immune system up. Period. You have to take care of yourself if you're going to get through this epidemic. You can't continue to eat like slaves when you're free. I'm just saying. So, with that being said, the higher you climb, the clearer the vision, and always stay out the bushes and keep your light on. I'm out. The show is ending.